Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast.
Rays Rewind with Bell, Bushman, and Drew.
Jansen. That is into center field. Here comes Kiermaier. Phillips has tied the game. Arose Arena coming around. Throw home. Now he stumbles. But the ball gets away. Tampa Bay wins it. Brett Phillips, Game 4 hero.
The sickest Tampa Bay Rays podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Rays Rewind podcast, the sickest Tampa Bay Rays podcast on the Sick Podcast Network. Make sure to go to our YouTube page at the Sick Podcast, Rays Rewind, and Instagram at Rays Rewind Pod. Hit that subscribe and notification bell when new episodes drop and new pictures drop, and maybe some positive things will drop on those social media platforms, because right now the Rays are just back at 500 since what, May, or was it June? I can't even remember the last time they were at 500. That's how long ago, and how much of a tail. Let me personal.
I know
opinion,
there's 7 and 18 in the last 25. I know I heard that.
Personal opinion, Drew, is this the worst tailspin or collapse you've seen from this team out of all the teams? I think it has. I think it has been one of the worst.
That
Or
July in 23 was terrible. I know they didn't collapse, like they still made the playoffs, but they were a shoo-in to win the division after that start they had in 23. I know they had like, well,
yeah, but
no,
this is like
that was before
epic.
Wander's absence, so that was with Wander. They had that bad July.
But this is like epic. This is like, hey, we were half game out to now we're like, the conversation to even be in the AL East is not even there. I know they're what? Is it 2? Is it 1.5 still, or is it 2 now for the wild card?
For the third wild card, it's 3.
So it's 3 now. So to me, that's like, I know it's 3. It's 3 games. It's 3 games. But to me, with the way they've been playing the past 2-3 weeks, it's been actually ever since the All-Star break. It's been, what happened to the team that we saw in June? What happened to the team that was a half game out and was leading the AL wild card by, I think, 2.5 games at one point? Like, what happened to this team? Like, I'm at to the point. I'm so happy football is around the corner that my stress level can go down just a tad, to not worry about what's going to happen to this team. Now, obviously, we're recording on Monday, which we're a few hours away from really the trade deadline kicking off. I mean, that starts tomorrow. But, I mean, it could start any time, to be honest with you. The trade deadline is tomorrow. But, like, we really won't see deals until probably maybe later today, maybe tonight, and then tomorrow morning, and then up until the deadline. So my stress level about where this team is going to be in the next 24, 48 hours is still kind of like, okay, they could make some moves, or they could probably stay put and then ride the rest of the way to end 2025 and maybe look ahead to 2026, because new ownership's coming in. They might open the pocketbook and make changes, bring in free agents that are a high caliber to make a winner on this team. Because right now, this team, look, I know we're hit with injuries. I know that. But you should have the next man up to step up and to be able to produce. Everything's terrible all around. Like, the offense has been anemic. Pitching has just been abysmal. It's just frustration after frustration. Even Kevin Cash, who I back up all the time when it comes to his decision-making. His decision-making lately has been kind of questionable too. So, just got swept by the Reds this past weekend. They go in and play the Yankees for 4 this week back at home?
No. Well, they're in New York.
I'm sorry. They're in New York for a 3 or 4 game set against them, which is not going to help at all. Even though, like, the Yankees are playing like crap. They just lost Aaron Judge for however how long. But I don't see any ending in sight about the abysmal way they've been playing. And now that we got the trade deadline coming up, we've talked about this at length the past couple of weeks about what they're going to do. Before it could have been a combination of buying and selling, or before it was buyers when they were strong and they were up in the division. And now it's almost like, hey, they could sell, and this team is going to look totally different going into the end of 2025. I don't know. I'm just, look, you can sense my frustration, but now
I am.
I'm sure you have a lot to air out too, because you went to the game yesterday. So
I did.
I mean, so at this point, I'm glad football season's around the corner because I can concentrate on fantasy football and betting and the Bucks. But you know, I love to support this team as much as I can, but it's just what happened. You know, it's like what happened to this team.
Just to put a bow on what I was saying earlier, the 2023 Rays went 8-16 in July.
Okay, so we're kind of like
Terrible
right.
July.
We're right there.
2025 Rays are actually 6-15.
Yeah, so we're right in the same spot we
it-
were the past
It
couple of years.
is a worse winning percentage by about 50 points. I think the one aspect of this stretch that's made it really frustrating and really disappointing is we essentially went from best team in baseball over 35 games or whatever it was, right? 25, 30 something games from May 20th on into June. Excuse me. And then we went straight from top baseball team to worst baseball team. They have the worst record in the last, I don't know how many games now. I think what did I say at the beginning of this show? I think last 25 games. They're 7-18, 11 games under. So yeah, I think that just the split of those two, like just going from one extreme to the other, has been just really disappointing. There's just nothing clicking with the team. I mean, I get it was hot yesterday. Like you said, I was
No
at
excuse.
Cincinnati.
No excuse.
I was
It's
at
fine. No
Cincinnati.
excuse.
I'm a psycho who I like surprised my son, and we decided, hey, we're gonna drive up 6 hours to watch the Rays play and then drive home and just make a whole day out of it. And we did it all just to watch Taylor Walls sneak a ball over the right center field wall. And Chandler to get a single in the first inning, and that was about it. There was no energy yesterday. I mean, the guy who had the most energy on the team, quite honestly, and this is one of those things you see more so when you're in person versus on TV, is Christopher Morel, who wasn't even playing, but
A guy who might not be with the team.
He was out there. To his credit, he was out there, and it's a small thing, but he's out there. First guy, he's out in the field as guys are coming off in between innings, just high fiving everybody coming out, like just kind of being that Brett Phillips type, Kevin Kiermaier type guy for the clubhouse. It seems, which again, like say what you will about Christopher Morel's on field performance, and he hasn't been that bad. He's just been playing much more sparingly. I like having a guy like that on my team. So, but there was just no energy yesterday. Like it felt like, everything going the Reds' way with the way the balls were bouncing in the first inning. But at the same time, like they've just been playing bad baseball in all facets, whether it's all facets in one single game or it's a single facet in a game and it's the one area they needed to get a win, right? It's Shane, or it's Taj Bradley imploding and the bullpen and Kevin Kelly imploding against the White Sox when they put up 9 runs or wherever it was against the White Sox and we can't hold the lead, or it's Pepio pitching his butt off on Saturday and Shane Baz pitching really great outside of that first inning where they had some cheaper hits or just funny bounces that got their 2 runs across the Reds, and we couldn't scratch enough runs across to make up for that. Like it just seems like whenever we need offense, we're not getting offense. Whenever we need pitching, we're not getting pitching. And they've just been playing bad baseball now for since about a month now, the last month, since the end of June. Really, since that Orioles series, that's when things kind of turned. And I think that coincides with, guys like Brandon Lau being out. I don't really buy like Hassan Kim. I get like, yeah, he's better than Caballero or Taylor Walls, but like Kim has not played much. So like, I really, his absence to me, yeah, we got to see him for a few games.
It's not even noticeable.
It doesn't even mean anything to me because we haven't really seen him. The team's honestly been terrible since he came and since he finally joined. So, But I think Brandon Lau's absence hurt. I honestly just get so tired, you listen to the post game, and it's not all the guys doing it. And I think guys like Taylor Walls do a good job of just saying, hey, we got to play better. Like taking some accountability. Like, when he makes a mistake in the field, he owns it. But like these comments about like things bouncing the other team's way, we're hitting the ball right at them. They're getting, balls aren't going out of the infield. Like, we can't keep saying that the Rays are getting unlucky because they've been playing poorly now for a month. Like,
Yeah.
they've been a bad baseball team. It's not a luck thing. It's not, oh man, like,
Drew,
it's
you know what
just
I'm
when
also
things are
tired
bad,
of?
they're going bad. Like, it just, no, like, they've sucked. They've been playing terrible. Please, somebody just step up and say, we've been terrible. We are playing terrible baseball. We need to turn this around.
That's what
And it's not,
I've
not, I've not heard that
always
from a team
that's
perspective.
what I've always hated with their personnel, even with Cash. That's what I've always hated is nobody will just come out and flat out say, we stink. Like, nobody will do that. Nobody has the balls to do that. And I'm so frustrated by the fact that, look, we've seen other teams, they hold players only meetings. Like the Yankees do it. Like, why not have a players only meeting to put a fire underneath them? Have Cash go out, throw maybe a bucket of Gatorade out there to light a fire under the team. Like, do something. Like, I second that. Like, that whole rhetoric of, we just need to play better. We just had things aren't going our way. It's like things haven't been going your way for almost a month now. Like, just flat out, and I think maybe Rays fans would appreciate it, is come out, flat out say, we stink, man. Like, we're terrible. And I just hate the fact that they won't do that. Like, and they know it. They know they stink. They know they haven't been playing any kind of great baseball, and they know it, but they won't say it. Like, don't treat us as fans like children. We know you stink. Just come out and admit that you stink, and we'll be okay with that. But just go out and try and fix what you guys are doing, and they're not doing that. I've seen flat baseball. I've seen uninspired baseball. I've seen baseball that just makes me look at it and go, this isn't the Rays. This is like another team that just came up from maybe like single A and is trying to replace the Rays right now because they stink so bad. And that's why I'm glad football's around the corner, because I want to ask you flat out, and don't take any time. This is like a lightning round. Is there any hope the rest of the way?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There's a little hope. I'm not going to say there's no hope.
Yeah.
But you said lightning round, and I have a hard time being concise. So yeah, yes, there is some hope.
Okay. What will that hope be? Please elaborate.
Well, I don't want to say the season's over yet because it's
I don't know.
July, and
I'm
I got 2
kinda,
months left of the season, and this is my ride or die sports team. I mean, I love the Bucks and whatever, but like I can get caught up in fantasy football or and that's fun, but like this is my ride or die sports team, and I don't want it's such a long season that if I had to
yeah.
say like, all right, the last 2 months basically are meaningless. That doesn't sound fun to me. So I've convinced myself. I had a long drive to Cincinnati yesterday. I convinced myself on the way that, I said it starts today. That's what I said. Now, obviously it didn't. So it starts today. But baseball is weird. Like the Guardians, they went on like a 10-game losing streak, and then they won like 10 out of 11 or something. I mean, it really does come down when it comes down to it, it's all about, all right, just a game at a time. Like, yes, this series sucked with the Reds. If they go and win 3 or 4 against the Yankees, then you start saying like, okay, like
See,
you've
that's
almost
my
forgotten all about Cincinnati. Now they got to go out and
that's
do
my
it.
starting point. That's my starting point. If
They
you
gotta go
go
out and
in,
do it.
if you go into New York and you take 3 out of the 4, if you go in and win the series against the Yankees, that to me is okay. Now we're starting fresh going into August, and depending
Right.
on what they do at the deadline too. But I think, to me, for me not to give up on the rest of the season, yeah, I know we have about a month and a half left. There is still plenty of baseball. You're not that
Yeah.
out of the wild card just yet. It starts with this series, because after that, if you get swept again, or you only win 1 out of the 3 against the Yankees, that's a wrap to me. Because after that, I think it's just curtains, and you're just gonna.
Yeah, I think that West Coast trip coming up, I think that's where you say like, all right, this is it. Like it's it's win or go home kind of thing. For me, that's always it's then the one road trip we've had kind of on the bulletin board all year circled, right? It's that 4 city road trip out west. Like I think that's going to be you come out of that, it's either going to be all right, it's over, or we're back in this thing. And I'm also like a sicko that thinks that like if the Rays, because I think they're going to sell. Like I don't think, and I think you're starting to see the tea leaves come out. To read from the front office, right? They're softening their stance on Yandy and Brandon as far as keeping them. Right. I think it makes more sense. I mean, Neander has basically all but said like these games we're going to determine what they do, and they've done nothing but
Sink.
lose pretty much outside of that first few games to the Orioles. So, um, I mean, I realize like if they got rid of guys like Yandy or Brandon, it's certainly not going to make them any better. It's going to make them worse, of course. But I'm also like a weirdo that thinks that you get young guys in here, like give them for opportunities, right? You get Curtis, like they, who knows, like sometimes stuff like that weirdly can galvanize a team and give some energy to a team, right? Because it's almost like no one expects anything, and you're able to kind of come in and play a little freer, a little looser, and have a little bit more energy. And it's like, all right, if you combine that with a good pitching staff, right? A good starting pitching staff, like they'll still be in games. Like they could do it. They could go on a run. Like the Yankees aren't really a great team to begin with, I don't think. I mean, certainly they have good players, but I've never thought too highly of them. And now they don't have Judge. And yeah, the Dodgers are the Dodgers, but who knows with that? Their pitching's been pretty bad. And then, the West Coast trip, it's the West Coast, but crazy stuff can happen. Like, I don't know. Like, I just think that you go out and win tonight, and then you just
I
start building. You got to build, and
I
it
I
just takes
I
one.
I like that
Um,
stance because you're building on something and you make a statement before the trade deadline. Because look,
yeah,
and
and
this is
they're
what I
not
hate.
going to buy though. That's the
Right,
thing. It's like
I know. And then
people that want them to do that. It's just not going to
here's the
happen.
thing though with them at the trade deadline. I know that's our headline down at buyers sellers do nothing. My stance is now if you're gonna trade away Yandy, you're gonna trade away Brandon Lau, Fairbanks. I don't want any more prospects. I'm done with the prospects. We've got plenty of prospects that we're prospect out, and we're log jammed with guys that can't come up yet because we have so many prospects. Like there's guys down there that are waiting to come up, and we just keep getting prospects after prospects. If you're going to trade away major league ready talent, I want major league ready talent now. Like, don't give me the prospects that you're going to put in single A that are going to go to double A. I don't do that. I don't want that. Like, to me, that's a slap in the face to the fan base if you go and trade guys like Yandy Diaz, Pete Fairbanks, and Brandon Lau, which those are the three names that are floating around now. I think Yandy Diaz is more floating around than ever. And I think with Clase's getting suspended now because of the gambling thing, Pete Fairbanks is another name that's starting to heat up again because of the
I
market.
saw that headline
Yeah.
just before we got on.
So Fairbanks is like
crazy.
now could be a top target too for a closer for a team. So if you're trading away those two guys, which I think Yandy's been batting, his OPS is over 1,000 right now. If you're trading away guys like that are the value of them is high, don't give me prospects. If you give me prospects, I'm out.
Riot.
I riot because it to me is like, look, we're giving you guys major league ready talent. Give us some major league talent. Give us some talent we can put on the field to replace these guys.
I think for me, it's if it's prospects that are at positions that we need higher end talent at, right? So if it's like, yeah, I know I'm not going to say they would do this, but like as an example, because it's the only name I can think of, it's like, hey, Dodgers, they give us Dalton Rushing, right? They're a big time catching prospect that's essentially not able to play catcher because of Will Smith. Like, okay,
I
yeah,
think
he's a prospect, but he's been up in the majors.
I think Jansen's another
Like,
that's been floating around too.
yeah, exactly. But like, if it's like it's a high end prospect at the catching position, right? Like Harry Ford. Again, I'm just picking names out. Like, I'm not saying the Mariners are going to get Yandy, but you put a deal together and you get a player like that who might go to AAA or something. But you're like, all right, this guy is our clear catcher of the future, and he's proven it already that like he's going to be a good caliber play. Like to me, that's fine with me. Or if it's a corner outfield spot, or I guess any outfield spot. But I mean, if it's like, hey, we're gonna get high A prospects,
Yeah.
middle infield, defensive, whatever. Like I just miss me on that. I'm not interested.
Yep.
It really depends. Like I don't know who they. I've seen there's a lot of Red Sox rumors with Yandy. They really like him. I don't think the Rays would trade. I think it'd be different if Yandy was a free agent. I don't think with him having 2 more years on the deal with team options and stuff. I don't know that they would trade him in the division, but yeah, I mean Yandy's value is probably as high as it'll ever be. And you think with the power numbers and stuff, like obviously you're going to tick down next year going back to the Trop. I see the reasoning for it. Like Brandon Lau, it just sucks. Like it just would suck so bad to have these guys who have been a mainstay of the lineup for 7 years now, 6-7 years.
But here's the deal: they could do nothing. They could do nothing and be
they could
status
do
quo.
nothing.
Yeah,
and it just would stink to be like, oh, okay, they people say like, oh, all the games mean the same, and I've changed my stance. All the games mean the same except for the games in mid to late July, because if you lose in this time period, especially if you lose badly on a streak like the Rays are on, it's very, very impactful for the wrong reasons. And this year it could mean some of the biggest names we've had, in the last several years are all gone because they can't win ball games in July. If this happens in April and they go on their big win streak that they had in May and June and July, June to July, like they're probably, and they're ascending, they're probably looking at buying,
Right.
I mean, it's just a completely different mindset. So, the one thing I will say, and it's a good argument, and I can't decide. Like, I always get excited if we trade guys. Like, I always get excited about the new guys that they could bring in and what they could mean for the team and down the road. Because I do love prospects, I really do. But so I would get excited about like what guys like Lau and Yandy and Pete Fairbanks, and then if they did trade one of their starters like Taj, if they packaged him in with somebody else, like what that could mean on the return. But the argument I see against it, and it is a good argument, is if they trade Yandy and Brandon next year, what does that mean for the team? Because I think if they don't trade him now, I think they keep him for next year. Because why wouldn't you, right? I mean, Brandon's.
Right.
I know he's hurt right now, but he's been generally healthy. It's just like a plantar fasciitis.
Plus, true, we got new ownership coming in too. So whatever.
Yeah, like you're gonna have Yandy.
They open up the pocketbook and say, "Hey, we're gonna bring in, outfield help."
You got with Chandler Jr., Jonathan, Yandy, and Brandon. It's your 5 guys right there, and then you just fill in. You think maybe Carson Williams might come up next year. You have other guys. Josh Lowe, maybe a bounce back if he stays on the team. Like there's a lineup there. You're like, all right, this is much like this year at times. Like this is a good lineup. Like they can play. Mm-hmm. But if you get rid of Yandy and Brandon at the trade deadline this year, it's like where's the off? Like I obviously Junior and Jonathan and Chandler. Like I'm not discrediting them, but like all of a sudden now this seems like this lineup is going to be much weaker. We don't know what would happen, but like thinking ahead next year, it's like, okay, well, we're supposed to have a really good pitching staff. We're going to have Shane back, probably, assuming he's still on the team. Like we're going to have the great pitching. But what does that mean for the team though? Like,
but then if you trade him away now, going into 2026, new ownership, they could bring in guys that could plug in those holes that that are going to cost some money, but you're going to bring in extra power. You're going to bring in extra OPS. So it's like, to me, if with the trade deadline looming, I say ride it the rest of the way. Like, don't trade him away. Mm-hmm. Ride it the rest of the way. Close out 2025, and then see what 2026 has to hold. I just think I know the rumors are swirling around, and with the value of them, yeah, you could get a lot back. I just think, just the product on the field can't get any worse. So just stay with what you got. You're trading away pieces that are helping you out. Look, I know one of them's on the IL, but you're trading away pieces that are not making this team any worse. So just stay with what you got and just ride the rest of the way. And look, like you said, we got a lot of baseball left. We don't know what's going to happen.
Well, and again, it depends on return. I mean, we don't know what teams are willing to offer or what,
I want major
I
league
think-
ready talent. I don't want prospects.
right. I mean, if they get blown away for a deal on Yandy or whatever, then it's like, all right.
I want Jaron
I
Duran.
mean, oh, see, I don't want Jaron Duran. Oh, yuck. But I'll tell you what, I would love, I know they would never, I would love Rafaela. That would be sweet. I think he's going to be so good. I mean, he's already good, but I think he's a really good player.
See, the deadline to me is my favorite part, but it's also my not so favorite part.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It just, you don't know, like if some team comes in out of nowhere and says, hey, we're going to give you all this for Yandy. We need him. Okay. Then like do it. But if you're willing to trade guys like Yandy and Brandon, then I'm like, all right, if I'm willing to cross that bridge, let's just listen on as many people as we can outside of, a few guys, obviously. But
I'm sure Neander's
Like
ringing off the
Jansen,
hook right now.
him?
I'm sure it's ringing nonstop. I'm sure he's getting text messages nonstop until the deadline tomorrow.
If we're willing to part with like franchise guys like Yandy and Brandon, then the guys that have just arrived here, I have no attachment to. Like, absolutely. Like, Jansen can go. Let's bring up Keegan, see what he's got. Kim can go. I don't care. I mean, he hasn't hardly played, and like, yeah, he's good, but I don't want them to be on the hook for $16 million next year as a player option. Like, I don't want that. So
I think the Yankees have been inquiring about him.
Yeah, probably. So, Caballero, like, yeah, sure, he's fine, but honestly, he's frustrating as anybody. And I'm not going to miss him if he's gone. Like, there's only a few guys that would really hurt me if they left, and we're going to give away, trade away potentially two of them. So it's like at that point, it is what it is. I don't know. It would be crazy to think if they got rid of all of them. All those, Lau, Yandy, and Fairbanks.
I don't think Neander's going to do that though. I just don't.
I mean, I think Littell's got to go. That would make sense, but yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I just want them to win tonight. I want them to go to New York and win tonight. Hey, one thing I do want to point out, just to keep our eye on over the next week or two, is it's only been 8 games, so it's not like a panic button, but John, do you want to know what Jonathan Aranda's batting average is right now?
Terrible.
In the second half. So since
it's been terrible
post All-Star break, he's hitting 179.
Yeah, terrible.
179 with only 5 hits, 1 double. So he's had 4 singles and a double. And yeah, he's not been productive. So let's hope that stops right now. I'm worried that he was so good, and there's just so the things you see, like his at bats are usually so tough, like, and just based on what all smarter baseball people say about him, they say you can just tell he's a hitter. Like, he's just a flat out really good hitter. So you don't think he's a guy that's gonna be prone to like lengthy droughts like this, but I do worry a little bit, considering this is really his first full season in the bigs, that teams are he's at that point where teams have figured him out a little bit and how to attack him a little bit better. And now it's going to be on him to adjust. And I'm worried that we're entering that phase where it just is really ugly for a while. And I'm hoping he can bounce back and get out of it. So just something I've kind of noticed as we.
Well, to me, I haven't heard much from him since the All-Star break. So that's why I was like,
he's the last guy. He's the last guy we can be like, dude, you're costing this team. But it is what it is. I mean, he hasn't played well. So, yeah, him and Junior need to step it up in New York.
All right, we'll end on that note. Hopefully, we'll make a statement tonight. And, of course, the trade deadline is tomorrow at the time of this recording. So
Thursday.
Oh, Thursday. I'm sorry. Thursday.
Yep.
So, yeah, we'll hang tight with you guys and see how it goes the next couple of days, because you never know, the team might look a little different. So join us again on the Rays Rewind podcast, the sickest Tampa Bay Rays podcast on the Sick Podcast Network. Go to our Instagram page at Rays Rewind Pod, and also at the Sick Podcast Rays Rewind on YouTube to subscribe and follow us. We'll see you next time on the Rays Rewind podcast. Peace.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Rays Rewind with El Bushman and Drew on YouTube, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.